right, let's talk about, we got a lot to do tonight. But first thing, I'll make a little confession. Like many of you, I'm fascinated by celebrities, right? Let's think about it. Celebrities, they're good-looking, they're funny, they're successful. Sometimes all three. Check it out. So, hold for laugh. All right, now, sure, I get to chat with celebrities on the show, but I wanted to find out more about them. So recently, I mailed a questionnaire to some of America's biggest stars. And I didn't think I'd hear back. A surprising number of famous people responded to the quiz. And we're going to show you their answers tonight in a new segment we call Celebrity Survey. All right, everybody, here's how the survey works. We asked 3 celebrities to complete a phrase. Our first phrase was, the greatest threat to U.S. interests at home and abroad is, Condoleezza Rice wrote, North Korea. Dick Cheney wrote, Iran. President Bush wrote, the Hamburglar. Kind of worried me, that one. He's going to get him. He's not happy with that guy. When I was 18, I gave up my dream of, Owen Wilson wrote, playing in the major leagues. Juliette Lewis wrote, becoming a ballerina. Frankie Muniz wrote, visiting the Neverland Ranch. And there's one guy who's laughing a little too hard at that one. Right there. Yeah. Sir, you got a lot of talking to do. All right. The last thing I say to my wife every night is, Kevin Bacon wrote, I love you. Tim Robbins wrote, sweet dreams. Bill Clinton wrote, I'll be back in 8 hours. All right, if I were a tree, I would be. Harrison Ford wrote, an oak tree. Julianne Moore wrote, a willow tree. Camilla Parker Bowles wrote, far more attractive. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. That one stings. I'm surprised she wrote it. I knew I had arrived when Halle Berry wrote, I won the Oscar. John Mayer wrote, I sold 1 million copies of my album. Tito Jackson wrote, the bus driver announced my stop. And everyone's behind that one. In my favorite fantasy, I am, Bill Maher wrote, having sex with a blonde, a brunette, and a redhead. Brittany Murphy wrote, getting a foot massage from Brad Pitt. Kirstie Alley wrote, crashing my hang glider into Lake Pudding. I'm just picturing that right now. Oh, my God! Oh! When I read Jose Canseco's claim of steroid abuse in Major League Baseball, Sammy Sosa wrote, tore an SUV in half with my teeth and threw half at Jose. Mark McGuire wrote, lifted my house out of the ground and threw it at Jose. And Barry Bonds wrote, ripped the state where Jose lives out of America and hurled it into deep space. They're so angry about the injustice. The biggest surprise at the Grammys was when Queen Latifah wrote, Maroon 5 beat out Kanye West. Mandy Moore wrote, J-Lo and Mark Anthony sang a duet. Courtney Love wrote, I threw up a shrimp. I don't remember eating shrimp. My parents are incredibly grateful that... Brian Williams wrote, I gave them grandchildren. That's nice. Tom Selleck wrote, I bought them a beautiful home. Geraldo Rivera wrote, they have other kids. The hardest part about being a judge on American Idol is, Randy Jackson wrote, having to reject a hopeful young singer. Reject a hopeful young singer. Simon Cowell wrote, coming up with different ways to say you're awful. Kim Jong-il wrote the 8 hours it takes to make me look like Paula Abdul, which explains a lot. If I had all the money in the world, I would, Natalie Portman wrote, make sure no one went hungry. Christopher Walken wrote, take a spaceship to Mars. MC Hammer wrote, lose all the money in the world. And, hooray. And finally, I knew I was with my soulmate when Meredith Vieira wrote, he sang to me on our first date. Katie Holmes wrote, I realized we both owned all the same albums. Christina Aguilera wrote, he yelled my name during a five-way. And I thought, well, our work here is done. We'll take a break when we come back. Alan Cummings here, Gavin Costa.